I'm back. I think I can stream. This is a bit of a public last test. I think we're good. I ran this for about 20 minutes before. And let me take off my Assassin's Creed thing. And we'll see if we can get this going. So this is almost the full rig of what I would normally be using. Alright, we've got a few guys here already. Andrew, welcome mate. Todd, how you doing? Kevin, good evening from Hunter Valley. Oh, nice. Aaron, thanks man. We've got Jason, how you doing? Travis, welcome. And Joe Faircloth, welcome mate. So I'm using, you know what, since I've moved I can't find my little attachment for the wireless mic in here that I usually use with this live streaming rig. But I'm using another mic, but hopefully it sounds okay anyway. The guitar sort of, hopefully it's alright. I got a different sort of tone today, it's a bit cleaner. I was listening to some Robert Cray, sort of get back to that bluesy stuff. Hey Jamal, welcome mate. He's always awake. Well, actually we both keep kind of crazy hours. You just work a lot harder than me. Alright, so hopefully this looks better. I had my internet changed over today. I'm meeting the bare minimum now for 720p. I think I might have just sort of hacked it so it works, but yeah, hopefully it's okay. So yeah, welcome guys. Cheddar, welcome mate. How you doing? I should make a couple of you guys, a couple of regular guys mods, by the way, too. If you, you know, I trust enough of you now to be. If you want the wrench, let me know. Todd, especially Jamal. Yeah, there's plenty of guys here already. Jason Wade, welcome, mate. We got Steve. How you doing? Paul from New Orleans. That's awesome. Must be early there. I'm guessing it'd be like 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning. Modding's easy. You don't really have to do anything other than if anyone shouts abuse at anybody, we block those comments. That's it. Everything else is good. Hey, Wollongong. Cool. Been listening to some good music online today, in amongst my power going out. It was a good day. I just got sort of binge watching Chris Kane and a couple of the dudes he jams with, and man, it was good stuff. It's really cool. So I thought I'd break out the Strat today. Play a little cleaner. Run out of things on Netflix. Stream is a good thing. That's cool. Thanks, Kevin. So I've started working on this new lick. It's a bit of a country flavor, and yeah, I've actually started like sitting down. I practiced one lick for like 35 minutes yesterday, which is a long time for me. So I'm trying to get a few surprises out on guitar over the next couple of weeks, and these are licks that can pretty much go over any sort of feel too. It'll work over blues. And it'll complement some of those ones you've heard a million times, like, you know. There's the start of one there. Some bad notes in there as well, but it's early days. Excited for any NAMM announcements. You know what? I haven't watched a single thing. So yeah, not really. It's hard to keep sort of on top of all of that stuff, so I just ignore it. Look, I do follow it on Instagram to some extent, but yeah, I literally haven't watched much in the way of any of that yet. I'll get around to watching some of the videos for sure. I think the only thing that really was kind of interesting was the new Fender amps with the, those modeling amps, and Landon actually sent a link through to one of those. So thanks for that, man. Yeah, some interesting stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna have to actually sit down and have a look, because I always find the NAMM videos a little much. How's the stream quality tonight? Is it better than it's been? Anyone who was here for those test streams the last couple of, I guess, 2 weeks, it was brutally bad. I'm tipping it'll be better, hopefully. I've tested this. I get the yellow light, which means it's probably still not the best, but at least it's working. Better than that red light. The red light of death. Of death. Sorry, not of death. Andre, welcome. Greetings from Mongolia. Far out. All right, cool. Video quality is like it used to be. It's 720 now instead of 1080. It's as good as it's going to get for the next 12 months. I signed up for 12 months at this place. I'm glad I can live stream. I'm back on the company I was prior with, with at my old address, and it's they don't cap the upload speed. It's still crap, but it's way better. So I'm glad. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Oh, Jamal. Yeah, actually, you know what? I did see that I think I saw that on Instagram, actually. He says, the main thing I've seen from NAMM is the fact Gibson is starting to release lefty versions of their classic modern lines. Yeah, absolutely. And Southpaw Guitars has them in stock. That's got to be dangerous, mate. That's got to be really dangerous. It doesn't seem like... this is what I find hilarious about YouTube and the guitar community. It can be any community, really. There's this... everyone's like, oh, the Gibson have shot themselves in the foot, and like, what is it, 3 weeks later, everybody's forgotten. They're like, oh, new guitars. And I'm not saying Jamal too. I mean, I forgot about that until I just thought about it then. So it's I think, yeah, I see people taking photos at their booth of all of the guitars, and I think already nobody cares. I could be wrong. Let me know in the chat what you think about all that. But hey, Steve, welcome, mate. Cheddar says he scowls at his Gibson every day. Didn't forget. Yeah, I've been listening to this. Robert Cray's got this attack on his notes. He's just got this really slinky. I'm gonna force myself to play really simple blues. And just not the Robert Cray stuff simple, but just really back to basics blues for a little while. I'm going to see if I can force myself not to do anything too weird and see if it helps. Hey, Alberto, welcome, mate. He says he's an Italian lefty. Very cool. When there's new stuff, everyone loses their minds. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty funny. Cheddar says Robert Cray so awesome. I only found out about him this year. Wow, yeah, no, he's got some great stuff. A lot of people just like his blues, and they kind of disregard some of his new stuff. But get into it, man. He's old. That whole too many cooks album, the old blues one's really good. That's the first track. I can't actually remember what that album's called. It could just be called that, actually. He's just got great... There's an old Charlie's Masters blues album of Robert Cray's. It's got a black and white sort of front cover is a series of albums. They're all really good. Like I've got most of those, except for the harmonica player guys. But yeah, all the guitar ones are really great. Yeah, Robert's just got this interesting approach, man. You know, like he plays really clean, and it's slinky, but it's got a lot of attack, and yeah, just capturing that sort of, even that simple thing I was just playing before. It does a lot of these like these little half slides. Yeah. He's got a lot of good rhythm guitar parts as well. Very different. Yeah, his vocals are fan. Oh man, Robert Cray can sing his ass off. He's just unbelievable. So in terms of any thoughts on Ronnie Earl, that's from Ed. Yeah, I mean, I actually, there's 2 DVDs I got through most of the way in terms of instructional videos. Matt Smith Guide to Blues Guitar, that was the first one. I play a lot of that stuff still, and Ronnie Earl, his blues DVD is great. I don't listen to much of his stuff lately. I saw him play with Chris Kane, not live, but just in some videos, and he was playing over the vocals, which was really weird because he never used to be like that. He used to be like Mr. Tasteful. But yeah, a lot of that stuff you've seen, like that's all off the Ronnie Earl album. Yeah, what else was this? Was all that stuff? Yeah, that was all off that Ronnie Earl DVD. It's definitely worth getting into it if you're into blues. He's got a lot of great stuff. And, you know, I think one of the things that I took away from his video, and I've forgotten lots of it, was how to play, like, understated. And that's the one thing I don't do enough anymore, but... Yeah, Ronnie's just got this great touch, soft, dynamic, and then he can sort of lay into it as well. It's very cool. Hey, Sonia, welcome. Todd says he remembers the first time he heard Robert Cray back in the early 80s. It blew me away. Yeah, I can only imagine. You know, I haven't seen him live. I had a chance to maybe 10 years ago, but I don't know what was going on back then, but I don't think I was around for it. But who was the first blues player you got to meet that inspired you? Local guys. Yeah, like there was Brian Strafford was probably, he's a local guy, one of the best players to this day I've seen anywhere. Like, he's great. Another guy, Dean Haitani, was another dude. Phenomenal talent. A lot of the rhythmic concepts I have came from listening to him, and I can't do it anywhere near as well. You know, Rick, again, another great player. So yeah, it was just like guys I saw at the blues scene. Another dude, Ross Helmont, who's he's a great guitar teacher, but yeah, he's playing is just fantastic, you know. And there's other guys, another Dave Oliveri, another local guy, killer player. And I think, you know, I didn't get to meet a lot of the guys on the wall. There was like next to none other than Chris Kane. I haven't actually met any of the guys I've had on the wall at any particular time. So, you know, living in Australia, I spent a lot of time in the US as well, but living in Australia, you just don't get a chance to meet a lot of those guys. So yeah, Chris Kane, nicest guy, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. So that was inspiring on, you know, on a number of different levels. Not only seeing him play live, but just seeing how much of a nice guy he was awesome. Dylan, your Instagram comment literally made me laugh. You know how everyone's using that face app thing. I succumb to the global idea of it. You know, everyone's using it. I was like, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna give it a shot. And I posted a photo of it. Basically can turn you old or young, and it turned me into like this 80-year-old guy with a white beard. It was pretty funny. And Dylan wrote, "This is Shane when he finally gets good internet at his house." And I think you're absolutely right. That was classic. It's still not a good internet connection, but I meet the bare minimum now, which is something I couldn't do before. So the biggest company in Australia for infrastructure is Telstra, and they have some of the worst ADSL ever. And it's $30 more a month than what I'm paying now, and I get way better speeds and unlimited data. So anyway. Bernie Masden, who was in the original Whitesnakes lineup, is still a phenomenal blues player. You know what? It's a guy I don't know a lot about, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't know if I've really met too many famous musicians. You know, I've met some like TV personalities and like basketball players and all kinds of different people over the years, but I haven't just run into musos. I've seen like a couple of them around. Like I ran into Silverchair at LA Airport one year. They were just there. I was like, oh, that's them. Going back home. So, yeah, I just don't see too many. I think a couple of the most famous people I ever met: James Worthy from the LA Lakers, Moses Malone, who played for everybody, Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld, who Curb Your Enthusiasm guy. There's been a few others over the years, but they're the ones that sort of stick out in my memory as some of the bigger guys. I want to get this lick. I've been working on it since yesterday. It's starting to become part of the brain. Just played it over and over. Let me ask you this. I was thinking about putting a video together about how I go about learning licks and how I drill them into my hand and brain and the concepts behind that. I thought it might make for an interesting sort of video. You know, it's not like a lick lesson per se. It's sort of more of a concept about how to get, you know, a new lick, you know, in the arsenal. I don't know if that's a video anyone's interested in or not, but yeah, I just thought I'd throw it out there. Yeah, I met Larry David. Yeah, I met him in Boston. He was eating dinner right next to me. I turned around and there he was. I think the first night I was there, it was crazy. Still a bit overexposed, is it? Oh, that's all right. Here, I've got a light I can adjust. Let's try that. See if that's any better. I'm getting rid of these big lamps soon as well. I've got these big studio lights. The 5 quick questions video was the first video I actually shot with that new lens, and it was way blown out. I don't need so much light anymore. I've got a couple of these ring lights I'm going to sort of use as permanent kind of, yeah, it'll make the background a little darker, but I think they'll look cool. Alright, thanks guys. Yeah, I'll definitely make that video. I'm going to try and make it concise and to the point, and sort of, I actually started shooting it, but it was too long, and I was going through the pain of like trying to show people how hard it is to actually get something new in the bag. And then I thought, no, that's kind of boring. Maybe I'll just make it a concept video and just show an overview of it instead of like the whole process. So, all right, cool. Sounds good. Living End is an awesome Australian band. Yeah, I used to love their stuff. I haven't seen much of them over the last sort of, I don't know, 10 years maybe, or something like that. Yeah. Thanks, Cheddar. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate that. Todd says he met Muhammad Ali in an elevator in Chicago in the 70s. That's huge, man. That's awesome. Hank says, is it just me or has there been a bunch of music stores closing down lately? Two shut down in my town in the past 4 years for me. Oh, in Melbourne. Sorry if I didn't say that. My mouse is right over the comments. Let me let me move that out of the way. Yeah, I would say so. A lot of the chain ones went. Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, the Allens and Billy Hydes and Gallons and all those ones shut down. They all bought each other out like 4 times, and everyone kept going broke. But in terms of the independent shops, yeah, you're right. Actually, there was a shop that I did a Guitar Search Saturday on, and someone said, "Oh, that shop's now shut." I was like, "What?" And it wasn't a chain one either. It was an independent one. I can't think of which one it is. I think what also kills a lot of shops too is, there's a few things. I don't want to say it's like the companies that enforce how much product they buy, but internet, this whole buying online thing isn't really any cheaper now because we get taxed on eBay finally, or not finally in a good way, but finally. So that's getting sort of, people are making money off that. I don't know if the stuff comes in cheaper still, but yeah, I don't know what it is. It could just be too much competition, not enough good marketing. I mean, look at all the shops in Australia. There's none of them that have a good YouTube presence. There's a couple that are starting to kind of do it, but they're not really. None of them really know how that all works. I think that's a huge part of it. So, yeah, I'm not too sure whether or not there. I mean, there's some that have been around for such a long time too, and they're still doing okay. So, or at least they're still open. The independent shops have outlasted the chains here, which is pretty cool. Well, there you go. See, that's Ed says we're down to 2 shops in Traverse City, and none of them are Fender dealers. I have a feeling Fender kind of leans on a lot of these shops to stock X amount of stuff and to continually buy X amount of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know if that's sort of killing some of these shops or not. It'd be pretty tough now to start a music store, especially in Melbourne, unless you're in an area where there's nothing else. If you don't do lessons and you don't do a good repair service, you're not going to make enough money. All the successful shops here have a half decent lessons, like a whole lesson sort of thing, or they have a good repair shop where you can take stuff in, and that's how they probably make a lot of their money. Strat sounds so nice. I'm using the profile I made of the artist Tweetone amp. Alright, here's a question for you. I'm sure a lot of you guys would have seen some of the new NAMM stuff. What are some of the things that stood out to you guys, other than I think we heard from Gibson. Jamal mentioned Gibson before, making lefties. Anything else that is jumping out at you? And just remember, next year's guitars will always be better. Fender stopped allowing independent shops to sell guitars, all sold at Musician's Friend or Guitar Center. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, I think another big part of the problem in Australia too was the fact that the major distributor changed hands a couple times. I think that probably put some sort of financial burden or pressure on people if they couldn't get the stuff as well. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's hard to know exactly what it is. A lot of people say it's overseas sales, but depends on what it is, I think, too. Look, if I'm going to buy a part, this is the thing. I actually called the shop and said, "Do you have this?" And they're like, "No, we don't, but we can get it." So for them to get it is way more expensive, probably for them. Oh, not more expensive for them, but by the time I get it and drive down and pick it up, I could have it in 4 days on eBay. So yeah, it's like, well, do I really want to travel all the way down there for like a part that's kind of like this big? Yeah, I always buy my guitar. I very rarely buy guitars online. It's usually like I want to play it and see what it sounds like. Kevin says Paul says the new EVH Kramer style guitars look interesting. Cool. Pedal market seems to be flooded. Yeah, everything's been done. What you're going to see more and more of now is like multi effects and digital replacements for stuff. The analog thing will always, oh, excuse me, that lemonade. The analog stuff will always be around, but you're just going to see these things getting bigger, like the Helix and then the one that comes after that and so forth. So yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that. I really think now like digital's far replaced analog in the studio. There's no reason to have large amp cabs anymore unless you want to profile them. Sorry, I missed a question that I wanted to get to here. Where was it? Oh, Venge, thanks. I appreciate that. He says, hi there. Most of the pedals I bought came across your awesome and honest reviews. Thank you so much. Hey, cheers, man. I appreciate that. All the pedal stuff and any gear stuff is all subjective to what you like. I think if you watch any channel long enough, and you can relate to the player, whether it be like the style of music or whatever it is that they play, then you get a sense of what you would like if I'm sort of giving it a thumbs up or whatever. So yeah, there's plenty of pedals out there. It is a crazy market in terms of how do you keep up with it all. So but yeah, I'm glad I could help. That's cool. One thing we don't see enough of in Melbourne is used guitar shops. I think that would be, there's a couple of good ones and then not many more. That's the thing with guitars. You don't need to keep buying new ones. They last you for 20 years if you take care of it and you replace the frets when you need to. You don't really necessarily need to go out and buy new guitars every year or every other year. It's fun if you find one you like, but I've had this Strat for years now. At least a few years, and it's the only Strat I really need to play. Like, I love it. It's really cool. Oh, here's the question here. Hi Shane, what do you think of the Roswell P90 pickups on the Harley Benton CST24? They're great. I was actually speaking to Dr. Rick, who's got that guitar in his possession. We're going to do a comparison tone-wise between that and his Framus Phil X, which is worth probably, I don't know how many times, 90 times more. I'm only guessing, but yeah, they're great. They're really cool. I've got my CST24 back here. I was playing it yesterday. I had it in a box because I moved recently, and I was like, what's in there? And I cut it open. I was like, oh, that's that guitar. So yeah, they're really great. I think their pickups are fine. They're probably a darker, hotter sounding pickup than, say, like a vintage P90. They got a fat kind of modern sound to them, but that's not a bad thing when it comes to P90s, because the more underwound they are, the more they'll buzz. So it's a bit of give and take. Let me just move this chat down here. I'm glad this stream's working. I'm wrapped. This makes where I'm living bearable now for the next 12 months. Amps with load boxes and IRs built in. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there you go. Cool. Fen79 Strat, welcome. Sonia, I might do you a deal on that. We'll yeah, it's such a great pedal. It really is. So a while back I did a video of a real spring, there's 3 different reverb tanks you can buy for this spring reverb pedal. So it's a regular pedal. You plug it into this tank that's either this big, or about that big, and you can mount them under your pedal board and have a real spring reverb going into your effects loop, and it sounds so good. It's made by a company called Anasounds. It's a killer. There we go. I'll fill you in on a little bit of a secret. Tomorrow we're filming our first in-house podcast. So that should be fun. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I'm going to have a few people come over the course of the next couple of months, and we're going to do a bit of a sit-down podcast thing about gear, music, jamming, everything. So the first one will be tomorrow. It won't be live, unfortunately. I don't want to stream it in 720 when I can film it and actually put something quality up. The podcast will just still be In the Blues podcast. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the title of it will be, but you'll know it when you see it. It'll be up probably in the next week or so. I'm really looking forward to this. So Rick and Ryan are coming around tomorrow. Ryan only lives right up the road, so we're going to be able to do some more stuff, hopefully on the channel if he's into it. Yeah, we're all this big triangle apart from each other before, and now it's much easier. So even for Rick, who lives the furthest away from us, it's a lot easier for him to get to my new place. So yeah, we're going to just do this and see how it goes. It's been on the cards for a while. I'm really looking forward to sort of seeing if it works, having people come in, and then also down the track, like topic suggestions and all that. Because I like doing the ones I do on my own when it's sort of like stuff I've tested and things I want to chat about. But this will be more like an open conversation, because Rick and I will talk for an hour on the phone. He'll ring me and we'll just be talking about gear. So, and same with Ryan too. Like anytime we get together, we're always like, oh, what speaker's in that? You know, like we're going right into it. So yeah, we're gonna give it a go tomorrow. I've set up my little kitchen table for a couple of microphones on there, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Ryan's a great player, man. He's a beast. Do the Harley Benton FLT pots feel weird when moving them? Oh, it's actually in the lounge room. No. If it does, it means there's sometimes a screw on them. It means they're too far. Like loosen the actual screw in the side, lift it up slightly, and then tighten it. It might be that it's pushing against the body of the guitar. It's pretty common on those type of sort of screw-in kind of pots. Probably isn't the pot. It's probably just getting traction from the actual plastic or the metal knob itself. So yeah, just give that a shot and see how you go. I'll stop doing that. It's my new lick for the day. Oh yeah, I was going over this. Yeah, like I said earlier, some Robert Cray stuff, and it's just great. He picks sort of like down the bass of the guitar. This guitar always reflects sounds very different to. Yeah, he's got an interesting sort of attack on the note. Travis says, thinking about picking up a lefty PRS in Whale Blue. They're great guitars. I played mine last Sunday, man. I think it's fantastic. Dylan says, tell Ryan we want him back. Yeah, I will. I'll get onto it. It was getting, you know, like, I felt bad that he had to travel pretty much all the way to my place, which was probably 45 minutes each way for him just to shoot videos on the channel. So, I mean, he was happy doing it. I just started to feel kind of guilty that he was having to drive all that way. So now it's 10 minutes, so it should be fine. be time to change guitars here. Let's give this a shot. I'll let you choose. You want to hear the V, or do you want to hear the CST24? That's all I got out at the moment. Oh, and I've got a Les Paul on my Tokai one on the floor in a case, which I'd be happy to get out if need be. Thanks, Jamal. Cheers, man. The V. Alright, looks like the V wins. There's one Tokai vote in there. Let me grab this. Now, this has been sitting in a cold room all day, so like any good Gibson, it'll be right out of tune. But we'll sort that out. This room that I'm in doesn't take long to heat it, but I sort of underestimated how cold it would be moving up here. Alright, let's go neck pickup. I'll try and play the same thing I was playing before. Just add a hair more gain. Actually feels like it's got less. There we go. Louis says, I bought a PRS, sorry if that's not how you pronounce that, I bought a PRS SE last month based on this guy's vouching for them and literally have not had one thing to complain about. There you go. Mate, once your channel gets big and you're telling people the guitar's great and it's not, you'll hear about it forever. So I'm glad you like it. I love mine. I think it's... I picked it up. I hadn't played it for a while because of the whole moving thing. I was like, man, this guitar's great. Like, it's so good. It's actually inspiring to play. You know, much like the V. The V's, you're right. Someone just mentioned, Lincoln says it looks uncomfortable sitting down. With the strap, it's not so bad, right? But I think I've got it twisted. Yeah, I do. So that's just me being lazy. But, you know, you can play it sitting down. I just don't like doing this. I've never played like that, and it feels weird. So for me, I have to just have it like I'd be standing up. Kevin says, have I ever played a Soldano? No, I'm actually waiting for the Tone King to give me his, but I might be waiting a while. I'd love to play one. Actually, I think some of Knopfler's best tone was the Soldano. I loved that rig that he had. I think it was an 80s, late 80s, early 90s rig with that Sir Pensa guitar. I love the tone of that. Did that what was it called? I'm not alone, sitting right here. I want to get a Harley Benton, make a V. I didn't know that. So there's another company that I actually have a guitar from called Pure Salem Guitars. They're making a V that has got me in all sorts of trouble. It's really nice, and I was half tempted. Because I love this so much. I was like, oh, the V thing's great. Knopfler sounded best on Fender. Oh, I mean, Fender amps are... That whole clean tone thing was great, but I'm talking about like his higher gain tone, right? The clean tone was good for all of those songs, but you know, for stuff like that, it doesn't. That clean Fender tone to my ear is not going to cut it. I like that. Hey, thanks, Sonia. I didn't know. I didn't really know that Harley Benton made a flying V. Do you have Joe Bardens on anything besides the telly? No, they're so expensive. Yeah, that was a brutal day on eBay. I remember when I ordered them, I was like, I hope I like these. They were close to, I think, 550 Australian dollars with delivery back. This is years ago. So I think each pickup's close to 349 or something now. So they're really expensive. So no, unfortunately, I don't. It's weird. I just love that guitar with those pickups. I've tried others. I keep going back to the Bardens. I've got a couple of those Harley Bentons with regular single coil. So if I ever miss the buzz, I can go play those. What new product would you actually get excited about? I think the only thing that I've gone wow when I've seen it is the Pure Salem Flying V. It looks really, really beautiful. So that's definitely one of the ones that I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, I can't remember who it was from now. I get a lot of emails, but I got an email from someone recently who's a local guy, and he bought the Explorer from, is it Wes? He bought the same model, but in the Explorer, I think it's got the same pickups. It's like, man, that looks cool. Go to a blues jam with that, I'd be ushered out, I reckon. But I love the look of it. Much like this, it's just a bizarre guitar. It's really cool. Bit of pinging in the strings there. Probably heard that over the mic. I'll have to give him a bit of a pencil. Got my tax check. Might have to hit up Sky Music tomorrow. That's from Craig. That's awesome. They got some good stuff in there. I went in there probably what was it? Probably 3 weeks ago. Now I guess time flies, man. And it's just so much good stuff. It really is. I love the top end. This is the neck pickup. You're probably hearing some of this acoustically through the mic too. So that really weird frequency is like the mic, but it's just a great tone. Keep thinking that's the volume control, but it's the tone. So 2 volumes are here and here, and that's the tone control. If you want to get that classic woman tone, which forgotten how I was going to play something then. I totally forgot how it went. Like a melody out of something. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. Hey, China Guitar Skeptic, welcome, mate. How am I? I'm doing well. How are you? Got that thing working in the new place? I finally can stream. It's not. I'm uploading at the lowest possible resolution for YouTube, but I'm just thankful it works. It was a brutal couple of weeks trying to sort this out, and I know probably moving forward I won't move any further out of the city, because the problem will either be it will take the further you move out, the further you are from these exchanges and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just glad it works, man. It's I'm still a little disappointed in the speed I'm getting, but it works, so I got to be thankful for that. Do I ever play acoustic guitar? If so, what's my favorite acoustic? I don't really anymore. I used to have a Maton EM325C for years and years and years, and I played a lot of acoustic guitar back in the early days. It's pretty much most of what I played was on acoustic, and I played it like it was an electric guitar. Like in terms of the way I played it, I wasn't an acoustic player. But now I've just got one of those. I'm kind of lucky in a way. I got that travel acoustic guitar, the one you can box up from Journey Instruments. It's like you put in the overhead compartment. That's a great little guitar, but it's by no means like the best guitar I've ever played. I think some of my favorites would be probably my all-time favorite acoustic that I've actually played. You might be surprised. It's not one of the most expensive ones. It's the GS Mini from Taylor. Those things are just unbelievable. They're smaller than a conventional like parlor guitar even, but they've just got this projection of sound that's really, really good. I think if I was to buy one, that would be it. I mentioned this a while back. I played one. A couple of days later, I went back to buy it, and it was gone. So yeah, the GS Minis are unbelievable. So Philippe's asking, is it Philippe? Is that how you pronounce that? I'm playing an authentic Gibson. It's a Gibson Flying V. This is the original clone. No, this is one of 2019 Gibson Flying V. I got sent a message of this, and I was at the shop in about 15 minutes, and it's usually a 20-minute drive. It was I was like, I'm not letting this one get away. Craig says, had no intention of buying it, picked it up and walked out with the GS Mini. There you go. I reckon some of the best acoustic guitars made. Just not just now, but anytime. I'm yet to play another one I think is as good as that. I'm also a lefty, so I don't get to play hundreds of them, but I've played lots of acoustic guitars at Jerry's and a couple of other places over the years. And if it wasn't a $4,000 guitar, the best one was by a mile the GS Minis. There was also another brand of guitar that was made by an electric guitar company, and the name has slipped my mind. And they were fantastic, man. Some of them were black. They had this like black and white headstock with like Jerry's Lefty Guitar stocks them, but I can't remember what the brand was called. It's been a while, and they were really, really good. Thanks, Ed. Take it easy, man. Thanks, James. I appreciate that. Stream quality is great. It couldn't have gotten any worse. Thank God. Saved by ADSL 2+. I'm just thankful I can stream and chat to you guys again, because I enjoy it. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. Like, I'm one of those kind of guys. So being able to do this is just great. Even if it is at lower res, at least it's clear, and hopefully it hasn't cut out or done anything weird. I'm working on it. It's gonna work soon. China Guitar Skeptic says Harley Benton make an awesome GS Mini clone. Wow. I'll take it everywhere in the UK when I travel. Oh, there you go. Cool. I didn't know that. I think I'd probably like a nice acoustic guitar. I had one of those big jumbo Epiphones, and I bought it mostly because it sounded really cool acoustically. It wasn't the loudest guitar ever, but it was nice, but it looked awesome. Like I really loved the way that it felt. It felt like a ES335 in terms of the neck, and it played really well, but it sucked when I plugged it in. The pickup system wasn't great. It was better than some of the acoustic guitars, but it wasn't the best. I'm yet to find a pickup system in a guitar. Maybe I haven't personally owned a Martin. I know their pickup systems are pretty elaborate and actually really good, but the Maton ones are just as dead as they can sound when you're not plugged in. You plug a Maton in, even those little mini ones, and they sound like $1,000,000. Those pickups are great. They're really good. Bumble says, my studio monitors went out and needed a new set. Oh, there we go. So I've got two sets that I've... It's funny, I had a set of Rocket KRK 8s for, I don't know, 12 years. So go back a year earlier than now, and it was basically the old speakers all the way back. And then I started getting a rattle in one of the cones, and I was like, oh... And then within like the same week, I get an email saying, hey, do you want to review these Atom audio monitors? And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll give them a go. And I was getting rattle, and I'm like, oh, they're faulty. And then I went, oh, no, it's actually my studio monitor stands were faulty. So, but actually, you know what? After using both, these sound a lot easier to mix on. They're less like bass scooped. It's hard to explain. Like, the KRK monitors are great, and I learned how to mix on them, but they're very understated on the low end. So if you don't have the sub, your instinct is, I got to push the low end up, and then when you do, you put it on anything else, and it's way too heavy. So these are a way more balanced kind of speaker. Definitely not as loud. They don't take up as much room as the 8s either. I think these are the 7s, and they're relatively inexpensive, so I think they're pretty good. Totally the same as before. It does. That's the idea. Carpet's a different color. Come on, man. What are you talking about? Nah, I mean, that's the funny thing. You know, I got in here and I was like, all right, I have plans. I want to do this. I want to change the view. I want to shoot into that corner. And then when I got in here, I'm like, oh, there's windows on that side and there's doors on that side, so I can't do what I planned. And I was like, once I started getting my stuff in here, I realized this is going to look identical to my last room, and there's nothing wrong with that. I actually like the post-its. I've had them all laminated now, and they're much easier to remove and change and swap without getting them wrecked. So, yeah, I didn't want to change it too much because there'd be people that watch videos that probably aren't, plenty of people that watch videos that aren't subscribed, like 80% of my views, I guess, that might see these posters come back, and if it's a different setup, they might go, hang on, have I seen this dude somewhere? So I like having something, I guess, a little bit unique going on back there, just something a little bit different, and something that's non-destructive to the room, which is also important when you don't own a place. I actually got a strike on an old video from 12 years ago. And you know what's hilarious? Back then, I got the piece of music that I used on it from a royalty-free website that is now no longer royalty-free, and that was my phobia about YouTube. Was this entire catalog they give you to use, which is what you hear on a lot of the Guitar Search Saturdays, all that kind of stuff, and you know, the intro bits of the videos and all that. That's all free stuff you're legally allowed to use, and it's part of the YouTube library. There might be a time where the artist decides, oh no, it's not part of that anymore. Now, I don't know if they sign an agreement that says they can't rescind that or something, but I would hate to see, you know, like all the Guitar Search Saturdays claimed for a song that was a royalty-free song that now isn't, and I wonder whether or not that's actually going to happen. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on. Have I ever thought about running the Joyo American sound into the effects return of your Marshall for an alternative clean tone? You know what? I'm gonna do a video on that, mate. That's a great idea. I haven't thought about doing that actually. So, and then I'll maybe compare it to the Fender and see if we can get it to do like a bit of a match there. We'll see how we go. Hope I didn't offend you with the Robin Williams comment. Nah, not at all, mate. You'd have to call me way worse things than I love Robin Williams. He was awesome. I've heard that for years. When I used to have more hair, I used to get Bono a lot, when I was younger. And then I used to get David Duchovny a lot as well when I was growing up, when the X-Files was big. I used to have the same hairstyle, believe it or not, back then. So, I've heard that one before, mate. You didn't upset me. Hey, Todd. Far out, man. Thanks, dude. Hey, Shane, looking at power supplies and or power supply with a pedal board, any recommendations? So, I don't think you can go too far wrong, still to this day, with a one spot. I reckon they're one of the best by far. Like, they're really, really good. You'll get 10 years out of it. Easy 10 years. They're about $70 or so. They're well worth it. The one I've been using, it's funny because when I got the Kalen power supply, I think I was one of the first guys to test it. I've used it on every single video that I've needed a power supply on since I got it. So it's been going 4 or 5 years. It's fallen to the ground. It's built like a tank. It's CP08, the CP08 power supply. It's got every kind of output you would need, and you can mount that into a board if you so choose as well. Unless you've got 18 volt pedals or a couple of 12s, I think are on there too. The one spot might actually be fine. One thing I'm going to say, don't buy, right? I got this Harley Benton. I'm going to do a video about this because it's horrible, right? I got one of their portable power supplies, and it's the noisiest pedal power supply I've ever seen in the history of. It'd be like if I hooked it up to just like a generator. It'd be awful, right? Like it's terrible. So they make great mobile phone power supplies, but I kind of find like any of these battery powered ones aren't as reliable as one you just plug in. I don't know what it is. So I think you'd be hard pressed to beat a one spot, value for money, and how long they last. And this is from someone who's used one for over, mine broke recently, right? I want to buy another one. It lasted well over 10 years. And you can see that on the channel going right back. So, the one spots are really good. They were made by Visual Sound. Now they're called True Tone. So either that or just the Kalen CP08. I reckon it's great. So thanks again, man. I appreciate that. Let me just see if I have a quick drink here so I can burp for the next 20 minutes. It says that the CP08 is isolated. At least that's what I was told. So either way, I have no problems with it. It doesn't cause me any issues. You hear it on every time you see a pedal up like that in a video, it's sitting on top of that. And that's my little stand with Blue Tack for my pedals. And it works awesome. It's got every output you could need. But if it's just regular sort of stuff, you can't go wrong with the one spots. I'm yet to find one I think is better. Peter Brown, welcome from Chicago. Oh. Got a copyright strike. Chicago's a great town. I gotta get back there at some point and play some music and see more of the city. It was awesome. I really like that place. Which Harley Benton portable power supply? I'll show you. I got it. See, I wasn't lying. It works great into the phone. Let's get rid of this. It's this one. I don't know exactly what, if is there a model. So these things are great, right? Like in a way they're really good. If you've got, what I found, this is what I found with these. If you've got a pedal going into the effects loop, they're okay. You got anything going into the front end, you get a whole lot more buzz. We all got a gift of these when we were away, or most of us did anyway. And I was like, oh, yeah, this might be awesome. And it was so noisy. Like, I tried it a couple times at gigs. I'm like, I can't use this. Like, it was just unusable. But it makes the best mobile phone charger. You can get like 2 full chargers out of this thing. So I use it for charging up random stuff on the go, or I use it if I'm only going into the effects loop of one of my amps. I never use it for overdrive pedals. It just buzzes like crazy. It could be mine. I don't know. I mean, hopefully other people have it, but yeah, mine's shocking. But it works great for the phones. What amp is this? So I've got the Kemper hooked up with a profile of the artist Tweet Tone that I made. Hey, thanks, Peter. Cheers, man. That's sort of like the actual way of playing that other song that someone said play crosses, but I play a little bit different. I sort of go. You can also put those the Mayer change in there. Heidi says, how do you think about using an attenuator reactive load box? I think they're great. I got the 2 Notes Torpedo Live back here. I use that on all my pedal videos. There's a couple of reasons I use it. One, if you try to record overdrive pedals or distortion pedals or whatever on a daily/weekly basis, I'm not doing them daily anymore, but I was doing a lot at one point, and you've got your amp up loud, it kills you. It just absolutely kills you. It annoys the neighbors, all of that kind of stuff. So I think they're great. The 2 Notes Torpedo is like probably the most used item on that rack, and I don't have much stuff. I got the Kemper, which I use mostly just for guitar videos and live streaming and recording, but if you've got an amp you love, the 2 Notes is awesome. If it's got an 8 ohm output, you can plug straight into it, and it keeps, you keep the front end of the amp there. You're only replacing the speaker, so the majority of that whole signal is your amp. I really like that. What I don't like doing normally is using a power attenuator and then dropping the overall volume of the amp unless I'm recording, and even then it doesn't always sound great. So yeah, is that a D7? Yeah, it is. It was like a, I don't know which D7 I played, but why am I getting buzz? I like that D7. It's like a weird one. I think Ryan told me it was a, he knows the technical terms for stuff. I double stop. Oh, cool. Hey, Grumpy Mike. Thanks, man. Have a good day at work. What the? Oh, I guess it's Saturday here, so almost. So it'd be Friday morning. What's better, Hughes and Kettner or a Kemper? I think the Kemper is the best recording tool if you've already got gear you love, because you can profile it. You can run your favorite overdrives into your favorite amp, mic it up, get that sound, and record with it all day. So there's nothing better than that. I like a lot of the other effects like the Helix and what's the other one called, the Axe effects and all that kind of stuff. But you're not really, it's not really your sound, right? It's what you can either get for it, or I don't think you can kind of profile your own gear. So the Kemper's got the advantage for that. If you're a studio person and you want your own sound, I would go for that. I don't think I would say this: the Kemper's probably not the best live amplifier out there. Even though Mark Knopfler's using one, if you've got a proper sound guy and you got a good studio, all that kind of stuff, it's awesome, right? But for most of us humans who don't have that, we're limited by the crappy PA systems and the way we've got the unit. We can't see it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the one downside of the Kemper. But as a studio tool, if you want to have your sound from your amps recorded, I think it's the best. Oh, here we go. Quicksilver's. Oh. BB Ninja, welcome. Can I play any BB King? Thriller's gone. Yeah, I love BB King. I can't really imitate a lot of his stuff. I mean, most of those. A lot of that's the BB King stuff, right? But I don't have a lot of his licks. I always like that little intro riff he does. Overbent. Let me go back to that other comment there. There was a question, actually. Morning, Shane. It's 4:50 a.m. West Coast. Thanks, Steve. Early morning, man. Quicksilver says, when I asked about the American sound and you said treat it as your amp, do you mean the Joyo cab box or the American sound pedal? All right. So that cab box thing is essentially kind of like what the 2-notes torpedo is to some extent. It's the last thing in your chain, right? So put everything else before it. So if you've got that American sound pedal, I had that going straight into that cab box and then from the cab box out. Any other effects, on the most part, you'd want to put either... There's no right or wrong before the cab box, but the cab box is the one thing that you want last, because you're going out of that via the XLR, if you choose to, into your recording console or audio interface. So I really like those clean tones. I got some really odd comments like, oh, it all sounds sterile. I was like, man, when I was recording that and through my studio monitors, I thought the clean tones were really something else. But yeah, in terms of the setup, just run your pedals as you would normally on the floor, then the American sound, then out of that into the cab box, or out of the American sound into a reverb and then out into the cab box. Just have it experiment like that. Clara, welcome. I used to play at the pub with my Rage 158. Oh, cool. Play some Albert King. Oh man, I love Albert King. I'm not the best at it anymore. I used to use a lot of those licks in my playing. Let me just read this out first. One thing I found with the Axe effects is that you can share and get the tones on it and exchange with your favorite players. I got an awesome tone from Robert Baker. Sadly, didn't make me play like him. Yeah, that's yeah. I've done that. I've bought pedals off watching my friends play, and I'm like, how come I can't get that sound? Yeah, so I think, yeah, you're right. My only thing is it's still pretty cool to be able to get your own tone. You know, I'm really fussy with my sound, whether anyone else likes it or not. There's a sound I got in my head being able to recall that really easily with the Kemper is a pretty much a win for me. I've got profiles I've done of the PV Bandits, of all kinds of stuff, dialed in the way that I like it, and effects pedals going into the clean channel of amps. I just love that. You can't get that with anything else. Like, you wouldn't be able to get a patch of like the Royal Flush with both channels of that pedal on going into whatever amp you choose. There's a lot of that sort of stuff that is harder to do with those. I love the look of that whole unit, but I think they're just different things. I think if you're playing live, probably the Axe-Fx is probably a better option to some extent than the Kemper, unless you've got that $1,200 foot switch, which I don't have. So yeah, it's all just different, and I think it comes down to whether or not, if you don't have your own sound, I don't mean to make that sound condescending, because it isn't. I mean, like, what I mean is, if you're happy to sort of get there and set up something from whatever they give you, or find ones that work, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's kind of like the Fender Mustang. I like that because you could, people could share patches and all that kind of thing. And I shared hundreds of, about 50 of them anyway. But the Kemper will give you the sound that you've got, of whatever's in your signal chain. It's pretty cool. Gig disaster. That might make for an interesting video. We've had some just things that sucked at gigs, like people not showing up on time obviously is one of those things that isn't any fun. Being double booked is always a fun thing as well. That's happened before. One of the things that I can think of that really sucked, we did this free gig. Oh no, we got paid. I think we got paid like $40 to do a set each, like $40 between each of us. So I don't know, like 100 and something bucks between all of us, and we split it. And we got out, and they changed the parking signs, and we all got $70 fines. So yeah, it was pretty funny. That's the best slow blues. No, I shouldn't say that. It's just one of my favorite slow blues intro licks. Then you got to get this. Albert does this cool thing, or did, and Stevie basically copied this, where you bend up, but you angle your ring finger up so you catch the B string. Then when you bring them back down, that was a bit messy. So it's not just, it's man, I gotta love that tone. And not that I'm, that Albert King thing. It's just a great sort of tonal thing going on. It's cool. Greetings from Melbourne. Thanks. Welcome. Oh, so let me just bring this. I always make the chat really small, and then I'm like, what's going on? Let me just enlarge this. Oh, we got a super chat. Hang on, I'll get to that in 1 sec. Is this going to let me expand? Yeah, all right, here we go. Let me just scroll back up. Craig Clark, just good to have you back live stream. Hey, thanks, man. Hey, if there's any questions or whatever, feel free to ask, mate. Happy to help out. And I'll see it definitely if you at In The Blues me as well on the live stream. Yeah, the Axe-Fx kind of one of those things that it's so expensive here. I mean, the Kemper's pretty expensive too, but I did a pretty big favor for a shop. They let me keep. They said, we want to fly you overseas. Where do you want to go? I said, I don't need to go overseas. So I said, I'd love a Kemper. And so they gave me a Kemper. So it worked out pretty well. But yeah, they're all the digital's killing the whole analog in the studio thing. Anyone who wants to just record loud amps they're wasting their time. The difference is so small, and it feels great to play. You get a good set of studio monitors or a good set of headphones nowadays, and you got a good unit going into it with IRs or what the Kemper does with its profiling thing. It's hard to beat. It really is, and it takes the learning out of trying to what mic should I buy? Where do I need to put it? You don't need to worry about any of that stuff. It just does it better than you could do it if you were just engineering the album yourself. At least beginners anyway. So thanks again, Craig. I appreciate that, mate. Let me just scroll back up here. Sorry if I missed anything. Well, thanks for the kind words, guys. That's cool. It looks like our female attendance is maybe at an all-time high of 1.8%. So welcome there, Clara. What would I call my favorite guitar? It's hard for me to go past this right now. I love this guitar. I've got a couple of favorites. My 52 reissue Telecaster is that yellow one that I've got. I love that. It's just every time I pick that up, I smile, much like this guitar as well. And also my PRS SE, which isn't my most expensive guitar by any stretch of the imagination, but I love the way that it plays and feels and all that. They've all got something special about them. Even my Tokai Love Rock on the floor down here. But I would say any given day I could choose either this, the PRS, or my Telecaster, and I'd be pretty much happy with that. That's the new lick. You're gonna hear that more once I actually get it in my hand. Hey Shane, got to roll to work on this super hot Friday. Oh man, I wish it was hot here. Thank God for air conditioning. That's awesome. Have a great day, Peter. Thanks, man. My 2 notes Captor. Oh yeah, well there you go. There's another great device. That's pretty much I think what that little Joyo was similar to some extent. I mean, it wouldn't be up to the same sort of quality as the 2 notes, but you know what? I was pretty impressed by that little thing. I gotta tell you. I almost thought about I'm gonna try it on a live stream and see if anyone complains about the tone. Let's grab this guy. Already feels great. I tell you what, there's not a lot of difference in the tone. Let's go to neck. For some reason, this makes me want to play faster. It's something to do with the low action and the way the neck feels. It's pretty cool. Actually, my bass player had a funny one today at the rehearsal studio. Tripped on the microphone stand and nearly fell off with a huge, heavy Ibanez bass. Oh, man. Yeah. You know what? There's been this might make for a good video, too. I got a lot of weird stories from gigs where stuff's just gone wrong, or you were playing to the wrong room, or... Yeah, there's a whole lot of funny stories. It might be a good discussion for tomorrow's podcast as well. Let me just scroll down here. Thanks again, Sonia. Cheers. Clara, this is my mum's account. I'm a boy. Sorry about that. I was going to say, like, I was just going by what I see on the usernames here. You might have to make your own, I think. So it looks like the female quote is back to 0.8%. Sonia, you might be the only one in here, I think. I could be wrong, but yeah. Let me scroll down here, far out. Love that old man pic. That's from Jonathan. Hey, thanks, man. I saw you. I see you pop up on Instagram. That's great. I don't normally download those apps, but they look so good that I thought I'm gonna give that a shot. But then everyone's telling me there's like security issues. I think anytime you download an app and you send data anywhere, there's security issues. I mean, Apple and Android or Google, whoever, can do the best they can trying to sort through that stuff, but you're sending data, you're allowing access to your role and all that. But it was too funny not to do, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Sausage fest. That snap is awesome. I think because I'm also playing with a lot less gain, I would usually have my Marshall sound going on with way too much distortion, but I'm kind of digging this tone. Hey, Clayton Gartman, welcome. From Texas, cool. Love the CST24. Have you been enjoying the stuff coming out of NAM? I haven't watched any of it. No kidding, I haven't watched one video. I've been seeing stuff come up on Instagram. That's enough for right now. Unless something really, I go, oh wow, that's for me. I'm not really that interested, to be honest. I don't know what it is, man. I just feel like any of those events. I mean, it's cool to see the guys that go there, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Or I like seeing the photos of the people meeting up. But yeah, for me, I'm not that much into product shows for whatever reason. I've never been that into it. I'm gonna go to the Melbourne one, the local one here again this year. But yeah, there's so many people just putting videos out there of stuff. Is the gear going to be that much different to this year, or last year? Is it really anything that's going to go, oh wow, I can't live without that? Maybe there's a couple of new models or whatever in lefties and some guitar manufacturers, but if you've got a Les Paul, it's going to be fine, right? You don't need next year's one. I always say that to people. Next year's guitar is going to be better. Like, there's always the same thing. There's this hype train of all the new stuff, and I've seen it backfire so many times. Like the Marshall Origin combos. Like the head was pretty good and the 50 wasn't bad, but those other ones were garbage. And everyone's like, oh, you got to wait for those. When I bought my DSL, I'm like, no, I'm trusting my ears. 3 weeks later, it was like, oh yeah, you made the right choice. So I don't know, man. I don't spend a lot of time watching guitar videos. I think that's part of the problem. So long-winded answer is I'm just not that into it. I think if I wasn't always around music gear, I'd probably watch more of them. But yeah, I just don't really get that much into it. And that's nothing to say like all the videos are bad, but there's a lot of channels that will be pumping out crap videos. So yeah, I just avoid it. Instagram. Yeah, Instagram's great. I love Instagram. So yeah, I've been following the stuff on Instagram. That's enough for me when it comes to gear. Harley Benton headstock sucks, but is it easily modifiable? You know what? For some reason, the older I got, the less I care about headstock shapes, unless it's really awful. Like everyone hangs on the Mac Mull for that, that sort of like meat cleaver looking thing it's got on there. I actually don't mind it. If the guitar plays well, I couldn't care less. So yeah, I actually don't mind the way the headstock looks. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, it is a bit weird, but they're not gonna copy everything exactly the same, obviously. So it must be hard coming up with a design that actually looks good. Lots of stuff has already been done. It's like, hey, I've got a new pedal. It's been done. Listened to T-Bone Walker yesterday, and man, I've been missing out. To me, it sounds like Stevie Ray got some ideas and influenced on it. T-Bone is one of the masters. He's completely underrated. His sound, if you like Ray, I always say to people, if you like Ray Charles, you'll like T-Bone. It's the same kind of atmosphere in music, like it's that sort of, wasn't recorded great, but it sounds unreal and the vocals great. And there's a lot of great chops, man. T-Bone is the king of those. Like that's where I got those ninth change chords from. Like that's a T-Bone riff. So that sort of stuff he's just tasty player, man. Great vocalist too. Like his voice is the king of just that smooth husky thing. I love it. Dylan, thanks, man. Have a good night. Question to anyone that can help. I'm getting Harley Benton with the P90s on it. Will eventually replace the pickups with something high end. Anyone got any advice on pickups? I would say play it first. I'm not going to replace the pickups in this. It sounds fine. I tell you what, Rick and I are doing a shootout between a guitar that's worth about $6,000 and one of those Harley Bentons coming up, and he's a little concerned that the cheap one's going to sound as good. It might not feel the same in the hand, but those pickups are something pretty cool, I reckon. I've played this live a number of times, and it does everything right. Like, why would I need to replace the pickups? And don't think that replacing the pickups is going to make like an infinite amount of difference on the guitar either. My suggestion would be, don't do that until you find out what you don't like about them, and can you not fix it by walking over to your amp and playing with the controls. I've done that before. I bought a lot of pickups thinking, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that out of it. I'm like, how much difference is there? With the exception of certain ones that are like the Bardens, and there's been a few over the years, but yeah, a lot of pickup tonal issues can be fixed to some extent by the amp. Not always, but you can usually get something to work that way. So yeah, I wouldn't go replacing. I get asked that question a lot, like, hey, I'm gonna buy one of those, what pickup should I put in there? Like, play the ones you've got and see if you like them. So ooh, sorry guys, I didn't tune this either before. Probably been out of tune the whole time. The Harley Bentons have thick necks. There's only one that I play. Oh, actually, two that I play. The Tallies. Any guitar that has like a 50s reference is usually like a fatter neck. Anything 60s is usually thinner. So that's a good way of of looking at it. Most of these kind of guitars, like the CST ones, the necks are kind of in the middle. They're not that fat, but yeah, they're just the more modern guitars will mostly have a streamlined sort of thinner neck. China Guitar Skeptic says, give Rick a hug. I will, mate. Well, I won't, but I'll give him a handshake tomorrow for you. That's all right. Hey, Doug, Jay, thanks, man. Far out. Is that... You know what? This is so bad. I always get euro and pounds. I think that's pounds. Far out. Thank you. Thanks, man. If you have any questions, just let us know. I always feel weird when I mean, it's fantastic. Thank you for the support. I always feel odd when I get a super chat with no question to answer. So thanks, man. Thank you. I'll play you a little riff. What do we got? Actually, I'll sing you a song. How about that? I'll just scare everybody out. This is the T-Bone thing. What do we got? I was going to come up with a super chat blues, but it's not really something to be sad about. I don't know if I've got one in me tonight, but no, thanks again, Doug. Cheers, man. I do appreciate it. I was trying to think of something creative and funny to sing, but I got nothing. What overdrives do I use? I've got a couple of different ones. Just depends on my amp, really. Like most of the time with the Marshall, I don't use a whole lot of dirt pedals. My main ones would be the Carrera overdrive from Buffalo Effects, the VS Audio Royal Flush, another great pedal. Sometimes I want that clon sound, so I'll put a pedal like that on the Shelly Ponyboy. What's another one? I've got a volume boost pedal I'm using a lot, actually, from Greenchild. It's called the Mr. Boost. That's a really great just volume boost pedal, and that works well on... I like to mix and match my rig, but the VS Audio Royal Flush is still probably like my all-time favorite, followed closely now by that Buffalo Effects Carrera overdrive. That thing is just, it's unbelievably good. So yeah, it just depends on the guitar and the amp I'm sort of choosing basically that night. So yeah, I'll try and come up with something for Doug here, and for everyone who's super chatted. Thank you, Doug, for the 20 pounds. Thank you, Doug. I got nothing else. That's it. So that's my butchered B flat blues for you. All right, let me go down here. Feeding the cat. Yeah, that wasn't my cat. That was my old neighbor's cat. I have to adopt a cat soon, I think. What time is it here? It is 10:18 p.m. I tell you what, it's getting kind of hot in here. The heater's doing its job. It's great. Which weighs more, the PRS or this? This is heavier. This is pretty heavy. This is almost up there with... That was the chair. That wasn't me farting, if you heard that on the on the microphone. This is kind of close to a Les Paul. It's about 3/4 of the way there. definitely need to do a favorite lick style video from time to time. I've tried that. I get tongue tied a lot trying to explain stuff, and then I realize like I'm not very good at it, which is kind of why I don't do it. I could probably improve, but there'd be a lot of lick lesson videos that probably wouldn't be great, right, until I kind of get the formula down. And I don't always play. I play a lot. Some of the video licks the same way because it's a good frame of reference a lot of the time when, you know, if people want to hear that versus this, they can kind of hear the same stuff. But yeah, when it comes to licks, there's a few I could probably play 100 times the same way. But yeah, I like the concept videos. I think that's kind of where it's at for me. Like I like saying, oh, this is how I'd go about learning that. Ha! Hang on, is this live? I thought I missed it. It is. It's live. I tested it out for 20 minutes off air, like 3 times until I got the bit rate right for my internet connection, and I'm back. So we're good. Yeah, I don't know what the temperature is outside tonight. This place is like it's a cold house. It's nice, but it's a cold house. I think 1 year in this place will be enough. Over summer it's going to be awesome, but winter here's been, the last couple of weeks have been freezing, man. Guitar Search Saturdays has always been so cold. There's a new one coming up tomorrow night too, so stay tuned for that. It's a good one. It's a good little shop. Yeah, I had severe gas for something that was in there. I still kind of have it, but yeah, I'm gonna try and resist that urge to go back and play it, because that's where you get in trouble. I love guitar and gear demos. However, I've got to the point I've got most of the gear I need and want. Would rather invest my time into my playing. Yeah, I think for whatever reason, guitar playing is an easy trap for thinking gear is going to solve a lot of problems. You know, and I don't mean that like towards you. I know that's how it is for me. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm playing like crap. I'll go buy a new guitar. That'll help. And sometimes it reignites the urge a bit, but I think the best, you know, once you get your sound, it's a good thing. That's why I don't keep a lot of the stuff I get sent. The main reason is when I play live, I've got my gear. Come see me 5 years from now, odds are I'll probably still have most of the guitars I'm playing now live, mixed with a combination of the pedals that I know work really well. But I'm always on the search for finding those things that you just go, wow, this is really awesome, you know. So, and there's a couple of pedals like that Maxon tube pedal that does some pretty cool things that I haven't found in other pedals. So it's still fun for me to do that. And then, you know, I'll try them live, and if they make the cut, they go on the board at some point here and there. So yeah, I think most people are focused on, or a lot of people are focused on gear, and it's normal because it's exciting seeing stuff and looking for something that will give you an edge musically or you know, tone wise and all that as well. So I totally get it. That's why I don't watch a lot of these NAMM videos or a lot of other gear related channels. I'll watch other stuff that they're doing, you know, and that I'll watch videos on gear from time to time. If it's friends of mine who are making videos, I'll watch them, but I don't religiously watch through a lot of gear videos anymore. I'm not that interested in looking for something that I don't have, unless it's something I've always wanted, like that Flying V. That was the first time I got excited, like, man, this is something I wanted for years, and it's basically the look that I wanted as well. I was like, oh no, and then it played great, and I thought, that could almost be my number one guitar. So yeah, it. But did I need it? I didn't need the Flying V. I guess it was one of those things where, it's just. It was more of a want, but I love it now. It's great. Thanks for not answering some of my questions. Well, you're welcome, Serious Sam. I tell you what, there's enough comments going on. If you don't add in the blues me, I'm not going to see it all of the time. I get chatting and then, so you can be annoyed if you like, but sometimes I miss stuff. Do I mix major and minor scales? Yeah, that's pretty much what I do when it comes to a lot of my stuff. It's a mix of like in C, it's sort of that, and then there's a lot of the sort of major. So yeah, it's just a mix of stuff. Do you play much with the Bugera? No, I sold it before I moved, mate. I found like my little amp, my little Muir Hornet was pretty much cut in the... Well, at my apartment, I couldn't really crank up the Bugera all the time anyway, but they're great little amps. I had that for years. It's really cool. Yeah, so in terms of like my approach to playing, most of it is just major and minor, and that I usually just sort of move the scale around depending... So if we're in A, I'll play a lot of stuff over the A. You can also play over like the F sharp. And then I just sort of mix it up. That's pretty much it. Oh, I've answered the question about the Desert Island gear. Yeah, I've answered that 100 times. It's probably why I might have missed his question, because I actually put that on a 5 quick questions recently. Oh well, doesn't matter. People get annoyed. I mean, try talking, playing, reading comments, and then trying to think about answers and doing all of that. You know, you're gonna miss stuff. Ryan Limsier, look out. Did you lower the action? No, the action's really low on this already. Not to the point where it's hard to play, it's just low. What headphones are these? These are, I think they're Audio Technicas. Yeah, they're the ATH M20X. I finally found them. They've been hiding. Yeah, so Ryan will be around tomorrow. We're going to do some stuff. It should be good. Am I playing louder since I've moved? You know what? I did a couple of videos with the amps acoustically, in the, you know, like acoustically meaning no, like Kemper or whatever, and it was freaking loud. Like, I didn't enjoy it. It was too much. That Tally video I put up recently of the 52, that was done with the tweet tone just mic'd up in the room, and I thought that sounded really cool, but yeah, it was so loud, and I thought, man, neighbors will have to be able to hear this. I got enough space to be a little bit louder now, but I still don't want to annoy anyone either. So I can make more noise. I tend to use my studio monitors louder, but that's about it. Yeah, I don't want to fry my ears either. You know, that's the thing you got to look out for. So this lick's for Ryan. If you've ever watched Ryan play, I've worked out one of his licks. It's like this. I'm almost there. I got it. feel it coming. All right, no worries. China Guitar Skeptic, take it easy, man. Thought he'd like that lick. I don't even know how Ryan thinks that quick. I'll get there eventually. Sorry, it's getting a little crazy. I'm gonna get that at some point. That's my goal. It's only been a day and a half. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Just says, just arrived. Bloody work always gets in the way. That's always the way. Play it cleaner than Ryan does. That's hilarious. Krenner says, what's your opinions on a rig like Harley Benton Strat 62 Zoom G3 Boss Katana 50? Look, I don't know what that Zoom is. The Zoom's G3, is that like a multi-effects pedal? If it is, you probably don't need it, because the Katana will do a lot of that stuff. You'd probably be better investing in the foot switch you can buy for it, sort of adding the effects that way, turn the delays on and off, or however you want to set it up. I don't think you really need a lot of pedals going into those kind of amps. You could probably get away with it, but yeah, from what I've seen live, people using them, they tend to sound better with their actual foot switch than they do with external effects. I feel exactly the same way about the old Fender Mustangs and the new ones and all of those as well. They work better with what's built in usually. There's nothing to stop you from trying it, but a digital effects pedal going into a digital sort of amp, yeah, I don't know. So these are just the stock pickups. These are just the Roswells. I get that question a lot. Like, what? I'm gonna buy that guitar. What pickup should I put in it? I'm like, the pickups are pretty damn good. That's part of the reason these guitars are really. I mean, other than the build quality and the way they play, I haven't done anything to any of them other than I butchered that Telecaster with the relic thing. But in terms of like how this feels to play and how it sounds, you don't need to. I wouldn't need to change the pickups. It's a horrible, horrible riff. I'll just play that all day now. I just troll people on videos with it. Yeah, take your time when you go buy an amp. This is for Joe. Just play as many things as you can and work out what it is you like about it, and try and put it next to another amp in the shop. Don't sort of rush buy anything when it comes to amps. So I've done that before, and I'm like, what have I done? There's amps I've had for 2 weeks before I sold them because I didn't spend time, or I didn't even think. If you don't already have an amp, it's hard, but a lot of the time I like to take my amp down and compare it and see, okay, what's the difference? What am I hearing? Yeah, there you go. So Philippe says, I only use the Katana with the built-in effects in a wah. There you go. What's your favorite knockoff guitar brand? SX, Squire, Harley Benton. Yeah, they're all kind of good. I don't think Squire is really a knockoff brand either. I like them all for different reasons. There's nothing wrong with any of those. my only amp is a Mustang 3 version 2. They're so great. You know, my friend Carl had one out at the Jam last weekend, and just unbelievable. Oh, not last week, it was the week before. Just unbelievable amps. Like, just made me shake my head. I was like, man, that's a digital amp doing that. And it was so loud. It was so loud. God, I love those amps. Forgotten how it goes. No. No. I'm just going to stop with that. One of those old senior moments. Turn 40, forget everything. I'm getting to the point where I use my Blackstar HD5 more than my Blues Junior, because the Blues Junior only sounds really good at above 3.5. Yeah, Blues Junior is louder than people think, especially for home. Your videos on the Mustang 3 were a deciding factor. I like the presets you made as well. Thanks, man. Yeah, I put a lot of work into those presets. They're still really popular. I think the total of them from the Fender Fuse site, 400,000 downloads? It was some huge number, maybe like 300 or something. It was a huge number. Just bought a Harley Benson CST P90, nice guitar, but it's going back, doesn't quite cut it for me. Okay, far out. I'm sorry to hear that. I love this thing. Hey James, welcome mate. Oh, sorry, that message was from Luca. Luca, welcome. Switch up cabs on the Mustang 3, it's so great, cool. Yeah, I always like the Supersonic 212 one on that Mustang 3 version 2 and the 4. That just adds that frequency that sounds great. Yeah, Colin says he got a Roland Cube 40XL. Seems like a decent amp for a beginner. Still too much for me. A mate of mine's actually got the 80. And I've had a chance to demo one of them maybe 10 years ago. And I was extremely impressed by how good they were and how loud they were. You know, the funny thing about the Cubes, they don't look like an amp most guys who play blues would play, right? They got that sort of metal looking thing on, you know, the metal grill, and they look a little bit more hardcore, but there's some really great tones in there. They're an amp a lot of people don't talk about much. So yeah, I agree. I think they're pretty good. I'd actually like to try one again at some point, because it's been years. Yeah, and the 40 I'm sure would be pretty good as well. Kirk Fletcher was the other guy I was thinking of before. Now Ryan's here. It's kind of, or was here if he's still here. Triggered my memory. I was watching him and Chris Kane jamming out in California. Man, some great new videos. Chris Kane out there. I can encourage everybody to go check him out. PV Viper first gen series amp or the new series? You know what? I don't know. They're one amp. I love PVs, and I'm a huge fan of the PV Bandits and a lot of the other ones as well. The Delta Blues is a good amp, and a Classic 30, but the Viper is not something I've actually had a lot of experience with, so I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Thanks, Ryan. Take it easy, man. Looking forward to catching up. Be good. I've got everything ready to go. What lefty is available? So yeah, Mark asks about the Harley Benton Juniors and DCs. I'd like to try one, absolutely. I think they said Rick and I can sort of test one more each. I don't know if that means ever or this year or whatever, but yeah, I'd most definitely like to give them a shot. Have I played the Robert Cray Strat? I haven't. No, I've never seen a lefty, mate. Most of those ones are hard to find unless I go to somewhere like Southpaw Guitars in Texas. There's not a whole lot of dealers. I don't think I've ever seen a lefty one of those. I like the idea of those Strats. I just never come across one. Oh, if I have seen one, I can't play it, unfortunately. So, yeah, being a lefty, limited options on what I can play, unfortunately. How loud can I be? I can be loud during the day. I still don't like... The funny thing is, when you're in a room and you're playing with a band and it's loud, it's different because the sound has more of a place to go. I had one of my amps up in the room recently, the Tweed Tone 20. It was so loud. Like, it was just like, oh, man. So I don't really enjoy recording like that. That's why I think there's much better options with the two notes and the Kemper and all that kind of stuff. It's just way better on the ears. Now, I don't mind being loud, right? But it's sort of, I just don't enjoy copping it to the ear like that. Now, I can't, the other thing is too, when I do backing tracks here, and I'm recording a pass on a guitar, if I've got the amp really loud, I can't hear the studio monitors. I need to sort of hear that to know exactly where I am. So there's that working against you as well. So, yeah, for me, I need to use these to be able to produce videos. It's hard to not have the two notes torpedo in the arsenal, especially for pedal videos. Anyone see the Harley Benton Pete Thorne copy? Yeah, I think Rick and I played that last year. There's a video up about it, I think. I think it's, unless there's a new guitar that they've copied, but that sort of green sparkle one we actually got to play. How loud can you be where you play live? Loud. Like, I've got my Marshall with a Texas Heat in there up on 1 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock. And that's on the channel volume. The master's all the way up. That's the way we roll. Hey, welcome back. Tell you what, I'm going to swap guitars one more time, and then I'm going to make a move in about 15 minutes because there's an unavoidable situation about to transpire through drinking too much liquid. unless I just have a break and come back. But yeah, it's been fun tonight. I'm enjoying this. Oh, wow, here we go. Oh, love the neck on this guitar. See, this is the thing. When I pick a guitar up now and I'm like, oh, it feels great. That's the feeling I want when I pick up a guitar. I don't care if it's expensive or cheap. As long as it gives me something that I enjoy when I pick it up, I keep it. And this isn't too far out of tune. So this is how you get the sound. Neck pick up down a little bit, bridge all the way up. Let's change up the tones. Oh, what's going wrong there? That's not the sound. Hang on. Ah, jeez, come on. I still haven't got it hooked up to my computer, so, or at least not properly. Sounds horrible. What have I done? It's like 50% quieter. Yeah, I don't know about that. This guitar sucks. Alright, Joyo Jackman and Royal Flush. I'm not enjoying that sound at all. I reckon I've done something to this. It doesn't sound right. These patches are usually really good. Does it sound thin? Does it sound thinner than it should? It's weird, I've just been playing clean pretty much all night. That just sounds terrible. Did I miss a question here? Play Strats upside down, restrung. I've gotten so used to it playing that way. Yeah, it's something I've never really persisted with, I guess. So this is based on the Mesa Boogie Studio 22. Sounds like it's got a compressor on it or something. It kind of sounds squished. Usually this preset rocks. I reckon I've probably knocked something. Yeah, it's lost the low. You're right, it has. It's lost the low end. It's kind of fizzy sounding now. I think I've got them set up so I just have to EQ them as I go, but yeah, I was really loving that patch I was using before. I was kind of getting used to it. Sounds yeah, it could be clipping a bit too. It's alright. Last little fiddle here, and it should be good to go. Alright. So the stream hasn't glitched or anything, guys. It's been alright. This is like the first proper live stream. I'm impressed it worked. And thank you for everybody who hung out here as well. I appreciate that. This is it's been good. It's been good. Got 89 people here still. Far out. Thank you. Gives you a break from all the NAM stuff. Then it works out all right for me. I love doing this. It's good fun. Let me just scroll back at the chat here. All right, more metal. Working, looking good, been good. Ah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Yeah, that green Pete Thorne model was pretty cool. I don't think he was too impressed with it, but Stefano, thank you. Appreciate that. Amazing coolness during the sunny and hot Italian day. Oh, you lucky thing. That's awesome. I want to borrow the axe effects. You know what I think is also missing here? Let's do this. Here we go. Little bit of delay. Fishy Paw? What are you talking about? I've seen your name popping up. Funny thing is, sometimes I see the names and I don't always read the line. I'm just trying to keep track of what's going on. So apologies if I didn't say hello. I'm pretty sure I said hello. I could be wrong. So this is one of those guitars that has a pretty dark sounding neck pickup. Get in the right amp, like this Boogie or the Marshall, and it's fine. You're half asleep. I think you might have. I play these. I play Chicken Picks. This isn't the one I normally play either. I think the other one's in my other set of jeans, but I play the 2.6mm Chicken Picks. The ones that I normally play look like regular picks, but yeah, I don't know what. Oh, it's in these jeans. I'm an idiot. I got changed earlier. So this is the pick I love. I've had it for probably 3 years. Yeah, the 2.6mm Chicken Pick. These things will last forever. As long as you don't lose them, they're great. Thanks, Jamal. Thank you so much, man. There's a little package on its way over to Texas for you. How's the weather where I live? Does it snow? It doesn't snow. Well, no, I shouldn't say it doesn't. It hasn't. It hailed here the other day, so it was brutally cold. But yeah, it hasn't snowed this year. It can. Not about... Just up the hill from where I am, it has snowed before, but I don't know if it's actually snowed in my suburb or not before. I used to live a little bit further out, and it snowed at my old place. So, yeah. Yeah, just at In the Blues, it's always easier for me to see if it's a question, and I'll definitely get around to it, or 90% sure I'll get around to it. So all you have to do is use the @ sign, then type In the Blues, and it will pop up. Sorry, Clara, if I missed your question. I'll scroll back up. I get chatting, and then it's hard to see all this stuff. Well, let me go back up. Yeah, sometimes... Sometimes it's I don't know what that was. It looks like conversations are going on, so it's a bit hard to sometimes keep track of all of it. But we've got a few minutes left. If anyone has any last questions, feel free to let me know. I'm so glad this live stream worked. I've gone through hell the last 2 weeks trying to get this internet thing working, or even just to the point I could stream at all. So my uploads have been taking hours and hours and hours to get a video up online, and it just sucks, man. Australia's so far behind with the internet. It's just horrible. And the NBN, they're rolling out this new fiber thing that's supposedly going to be everywhere. It's already so much slower than a lot of the places in the world that it's like, well, as we go, maybe improve it, but nah. So by the time it's done in like 10 years or 15 years, it's going to be so far behind again. It just doesn't make sense. It's tough to keep a pick for 3 years, but chicken. These aren't cheap, right? So these are about $8. So I think they're about $12 for a set of 3 US dollars. They're from the Netherlands, and they'll last you as long as you don't lose them. They're really good. Oh, Red House. No, man. You know, one of my copyrights was for doing Hendrix stuff on. This was going back maybe 6 years ago. I got a copyright strike, which was from their LLC. So I don't really always play a lot of Hendrix stuff because it can cause problems. I'll turn it into a bossa nova. That's another one of those licks. That's an old T-Bone thing. Working pretty good. Thanks, man. Thanks, Mark. In the States, East Coast, and it's humid. Far out. Well, it depends where you live on the East Coast, I guess. If you're going to say Miami or something, you know, then you're not surprising me. If you're going to say Boston, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, far out. Thanks, Sonia. Thank you so much for your help. How do I get the mic to duck? I don't do anything. I just play. So I'm playing through the Kemper. My mic is here. And I just stop talking. That's pretty much it. I am using something different actually. I'm using a preamp for the mic instead of just going straight to the audio interface. So I don't know if that's making a difference, but it doesn't have a gate. It doesn't do anything. It's just a straight up mic preamp. I just thought I'd give it a go. So yeah, no tricks. The best thing you can do is get a microphone that can do minus 10 dB if you've got like a wireless pack or something like that. That's what I normally use. And then as you play and all you're hearing is the clacking, it will drop that 10 dB basically, so you're not going to hear it. That's a really great way of getting rid of that, or creating the ducking effect, but I'm literally doing nothing. I didn't know if it was going to work, so tonight I just threw all this together and hoped it was going to work. What's your opinion on the Marshall valve state amps? Kind of considering one. You know what? I reckon they're underrated. I think they're actually pretty good. Not all of them, but I've seen a couple that are pretty much like the Marshall DSL style valve state ones, and they're fine. I've seen guys gig with them. I think they sounded all right. Thoughts on Rory Gallagher? Yeah, it's another guy. The reason I get asked that from time to time, I haven't heard enough of his stuff. Hey, Chief Ralph, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Cheers. Yeah, I don't really know a lot of his music. I've only seen some of it on YouTube and not enough. So I need to sort of get into his stuff and see what it's all about. But yeah, thanks again, Ralph. I appreciate that, mate. I think that's part of the tone, you know. A lot of guys, I've seen albums where guys have mic'd up their electric guitar to get that note attack. Then as you bring in your volume, That always gets me when the only thing that throws me sometimes when I change guitars is where I've got to bend to. Alright guys, I think it's time to go. Thank you so much for everyone who's been a part of the live stream tonight. It's been awesome fun. Thanks for all the super chats too, guys. That's crazy. Heidi, welcome and thanks for hanging out. Dale, Jamal, everybody who contributed modding as well. Thank you, Sonia, Beaver Ninja. And we might add some new mods coming up. I probably should have thought about that way before now, but I appreciate everybody hanging out. If you don't know China Guitar Skeptics channel, go check him out. He's a really aggressive American guy. No. He's a little bit too lovely. How's that for an English accent? I think the Aussies and the English can get each other's accents really well. It's just that we can't do any others very well at all. So have a good day. Have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out. And yeah, it's been fun. Far out. What a cool live stream. I'm just meeting the minimum requirements for streaming, so I'm happy. It all worked. So thanks again, guys. And if I missed your question, I apologize. It's always hard to keep a track of everything that goes on, but feel free to leave a question after the stream, caches on YouTube, and I'll get back to you then. I'm actually getting tired, so it's definitely time to pull a pin, I should say. But yeah, rock on, guys. Have a great night, and catch you soon. I'll probably do another one of these maybe next week. I'll see how we go. And Guitar Search Saturday, this Saturday. It's going to be awesome. Thanks, guys. How do we stop this thing?